All right, you're very welcome along to the Tide 5 with Neil Treacy. Neil, how are things?
Not too bad, on.
Ready for Christmas?
Very, already, yeah.
Well, it is Christmas time, and we've got a Christmas present for everybody at home because 5 isn't the magic number. It certainly is. God. 5 is not the magic number.
I've been cheap this year.
10 is the magic number this week because you got your 10 best players of 2018. 10 best players maybe isn't the correct way to say it. So we're going to have a countdown of 10 players. What is the criteria?
Yeah, you suggested 10 best players to me. I hate kind of doing that. These are the 10 I think were the best, because it's all so subjective. What I'm going for today are the 10 that I enjoyed watching the most. Not necessarily the 10 best players in the world for 2018. Some of them are definitely in the top 10 best players, but there are one or two as well where I've just kind of gone, you know what, I like seeing this guy this year. I learned a lot more about him. I want to see more of him in 2019. You know, maybe I've started to like him a bit more. You learn more about him. And it's just that, really. And I think number 10, will we get straight into it?
Let's go for it.
Yeah, number 10 is probably ticking off that list. It's the reason I wanted to make it that, because Lima Sopoaga, former All Black, now playing with Wasps. And he's just someone that over the last year, he's a very good player. It hasn't really worked for him too well yet since he moved to Wasps. He's on big money, and he's even spoken lately about the kind of pressure he suffered ever since he moved to Wasps. But he was in Bowden Barrett's shadow for quite a long time and decided, obviously, you know what, I just need to get out of here. You know, you're hanging around for All Black caps when there's someone who's definitely better than you who's up there. But I watched, I don't know, did you see that Amazon Prime thing, the All Blacks All or Nothing this year? I watched it, and it's grand. It's worth a watch. It's nothing groundbreaking, but Lima Sopoaga was the one guy in it that he absolutely stole the show in the entire thing. He came across at the start as really kind of like, when he was around other people, very cocky, the life of the party and all that. But when he was speaking one-on-one with the camera, you could just see how racked with self-doubt he was constantly. He was always questioning his own ability and things like that. It just seemed incredibly vulnerable, and it was such a human side to see from a player. And he was saying the kind of things that you rarely actually hear athletes talking about, just about how much he doubted himself at times, and waiting to get in ahead of Bowden Barrett. And during that as well, became a father as well, and you could see how much that affected him. Probably
behind his decision to actually go get more money for himself.
And he has actually said that exactly. That was part of the reason as well. But he is just one player that I just really warmed to over the last year, and I wanted to include him on this list.
Yeah.
Because I really thought he was a very interesting guy.
And I think because, of course, with all the hype ahead of the Wasps Leinster game a few months ago, he's kind of become more of a focal point on our own radar here as well, and somebody that we can watch week in, week out, which is great. Number 9 as well, somebody we've been very accustomed to, despite the fact that he's from the Southern Hemisphere. It's a Fijian at number 9.
Yeah, he is. I don't think there's a player in the world I enjoy watching more than Leone Nakarawa, Fijian second row. Tortured Irish teams for a number of years now when he was at Glasgow Warriors, now at Racing 92. European Player of the Year last year in the Champions Cup. And he's just so much fun to watch. He does everything. He's able to do the bread and butter stuff. Like last year in the Champions Cup, I was looking through it yesterday, he was only second to Peter O'Mahony in the number of lineouts, who only won 38. He was second to CJ Stander in the number of carries in the tournament on 124, and 23 defenders beaten. He was the only forward in the top 5 players for defenders beaten last year in the tournament, and offloads, 22 of them last year, which I think was the highest number for any player as well. He's just so much fun to watch. He has this way of running. I don't know what a lot of people say it as well. I know myself and a few friends at home would say it. He has this way of holding the ball. We call it walking the dog. So he kind of holds it out in one hand, almost in front of him like that. Like he's got a little dog on a leash in front of him. And he's just running around the place. He's going around a defender. He's throwing a pass in like that, or like that, all in the one hand. He's just so much fun to watch. He plays rugby the way it's meant to be played.
Yeah.
And I got to see him last year in the Champions Cup final in Bilbao, and seeing him in such a big game like that, it was an absolute thrill.
Yeah, he's class. Number 8, I didn't expect to see Daenerys Targaryen make your list, but Kolisi's made it at number 8.
Yeah, see, Kolisi, I just think, like I said earlier on with the...
don't watch Game of Thrones, obviously.
No, I don't.
Well, I've
never actually seen it.
Continue.
Anyway, see, Kolisi, just an historic year, the first black South Africa Springbok captain. He just seems an incredible leader. I've seen him speaking quite a few times now, and he just comes across so impressive. And I think what I was delighted to see even more was, ever since he took on the captaincy, he led on the pitch as well. He clearly wasn't just there. We have all this quota stuff in South African rugby. He wasn't there, but he wasn't chosen as a captain because he was black. And his numbers back it up in the Rugby Championship. He was in the top 8 for the number of clean breaks in that tournament. The only forward in the top 10 in that. He beat 21 defenders with the ball in hand. That was in the top 7. Only forward again in the top 10. He was the only forward in the top 10 for metres carried on 267, and he made the third most tackles in the Rugby Championship as well, 67. So that to me is just 100% a captain leading by example, and I just can't imagine the amount of pressure he was probably under last summer and early in the autumn as well, taking on the Springboks, the first ever black captain. And he's got an incredible story about how he came from, pretty much from poverty. His mother died when he was incredibly young, managed to get a scholarship to a rugby playing school, and that's where he was discovered and where he grew out of. And I just thought he was absolutely phenomenal this year. And I think he symbolises as well this kind of new South African rugby team that Razzie is building, how impressive they've been over the last 6 months or so, and how far they've come, and how big a challenge they're likely to present to
Ireland.
To maybe Ireland, if Ireland were to top their group, and if, as we expect, South Africa were to finish second maybe to New Zealand in the Rugby World Cup. Yeah. Massive collision course there potentially in a World Cup quarter-final.
We can admire them for now, but I think...
in 6 months down the line, we'll try pick all the holes we can in the game.
Let's hope so. It's our first Irishman at number 7.
Yeah, Peter O'Mahony, one of 4 Irish players, and I think I'm carrying on maybe a little... It's a forward-dominated list when I was looking back at it this morning. But again, it's all subjective, as I said. Don't blame me for it. They're my choices. I understand if other people have different selections.
No, people never have different ideas about top 10 lists at the end of the year.
Peter O'Mahony, just... What more can you say about him? He was... That performance against New Zealand at the Aviva Stadium last month, I'm struggling to remember a better performance from a single Irish player in an international game. Really? I couldn't get over it. There was a stage, I think it was about mid 50 minutes or something like that, 50, 60 minutes, and you thought, he's done. His game is over. He looked physically like he was just broken. And he plays on for another 20 minutes, makes that incredible last-ditch dive to pull the ball away 10 metres from the line. He a couple of stunning turnovers as well, and just like Sia Kolisi as well. He's just a natural leader, leads by example. The best defensive line-out jumper in the world, I would say, at the moment. He's just incredible going up there at 2. Six Nations medal, and that story as well, like I say, leading by example. Do you remember when he had his Six Nations medal, and he gave it to what's the girl's name? She's like the Irish sports biggest fan, pretty much. He's just a complete leader as well, like on and off the field. That's when Ireland won the Six Nations, won the Grand Slam at Twickenham, and you had that wonderful image of him giving his medal to Jennifer Malone, arguably Irish sports biggest fan at the moment. She seems to be absolutely everywhere. Every player in the country seems to know her. But Peter O'Mahony and a lot of the Irish players would know her very well at this stage. And just to see him giving a medal that he had pretty much, I would say, a Grand Slam, that's something he'd been dreaming of, I'd say, since he was 5 or 6 playing rugby in Cork on. Probably even younger with the, how young he was inside in that club. But, to sacrifice that, something you'd obviously been working for your entire career, and to just hand it over to someone, I just think it says a lot about someone as a person. It's
a class touch, really. And it's another Irishman at number 6. A fella who 12 months ago, if you said he was going to be just outside the top 5 players, or your favourite players in the world, probably wouldn't have believed you.
To give him his full title, Man of the Match, James Ryan, I think is what he's actually known as now. What he's doing at the age of 22 is just phenomenal. It really is. Consistently Man of the Match. I joked about it there a second ago.
But he really is.
2 defeats in his professional career to date.
He's Leinster Player of the Year. He's had I would say he's Leinster Player of the Year ahead of the World Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm. And I think he epitomises that new breed coming through with Ireland and Leinster that really don't actually know what defeat is like. Even the likes of Conor Murray or Peter O'Mahony, they were probably brought up in that era where, you probably were still an underdog, and you were slowly getting used to winning. Whereas he's coming up in this era now where winning is expected. Winning is what they're just used to. Defeat is what they're not used to. They're not used to the moral victories, the 2-3 point defeats against the bigger sides and going home happy with that. The scope for him to improve, even just the knowledge of the game, he plays it like a 10-year veteran. I think his complete,
it's the wisdom that he has really in his play.
Yeah, he's not making the mistakes that a 22-year-old or even last year as a 21-year-old that those kind of players make.
Yeah,
he plays the game like he's 28, 29.
It's very, very unusual. Long way to continue, I think, when it comes to James Ryan. We're going back to Springbok number 5.
Yeah, Malcolm Marx, Springbok hooker. one of those nominated for World Player of the Year this year. Best hooker in the world, I'd say, at the moment as well. And I think he's just that perfect shape for a hooker as well. He's that short kind of squat, built like a block, broad shoulders, brilliant at getting in over the ball. I think he used to be a flanker when he was younger as well, so that's where his experience of that comes from. He only has 20-something odd caps, I think, for South Africa at this stage, but he is their de facto first-choice hooker. And he plays... Clough Brodie is playing a Lion side that are brilliant to watch as well. They really, really are enjoyable to watch. And his stats in Super Rugby last year would back it all up as well. He was the 4th top try scorer in the entire tournament of 12, only forward in the top 10 on that list as well. He was 5th top try scorer in Super Rugby the season before that, with 10 of them. 2nd most turnovers of any player in the tournament last year on 27 as well. So he's like, you can see it, he's a threat near the try line. He's a threat over the ball. He's a good line-out thrower. He's very much a complete player as a hooker, I think.
Yeah, not just from set play and open play as well. I'm looking at your top 4 here now, Neil, and you say it's the 4 players you've liked the most over the year. I would say if you did a straw poll of every rugby fan around the world, these would be their 4 best players of 2018, or the 4 best players in the world right now.
Yeah, this is where we're probably coming into the territory now, into the from 5 in or something like that, where most people would kind of agree these probably are among the top 10 players in the world.
Yes, what have we got at number 4?
Number 4 of Brodie Retallick. I think he's just a complete player. He's the kind of player, I think, that if you were to say to James Ryan, who do you want to be in 5 or 6 years' time, he'd probably say, I want to be like Brodie Retallick. He's just an absolutely fantastic player. His world's finished off the World Try of the Year as well from this year's awards, and it was just brilliant because it showed everything he has in his locker in that full play. He started off the move with a short little carry inside the 22, just like picking up those kind of grunting yards, take 2-3 yards, get the ball back, play away, and all of a sudden there he is about 30 seconds later out on the wing, throwing a dubby, sending Bernard Foley back on his backside and running in under the post. So you can just see how comfortable he is doing the grunt and tumble, doing the dirty work, and also at the same time just how comfortable he is with the ball in hand. Like, he's probably the best second row in the world, you'd say, at the moment as well. And you could see how big an impact it was a couple of years ago, maybe, when Ireland beat New Zealand in Chicago. He wasn't there. And a lot of people spoke leading up to this game this year about how, well, Brodie Retallick's going to be back, Sam Whitelock are going to be back in the second row. This changes everything now. Yeah. And I think you could see how much Ireland targeted him, I think, in that game as well. Like, you remember the big tackle from Devin Toner.
I was just about to say, apparently Retallick was in at number 1 until Devin Toner tackled him and shoved him all the way back to number 4.
Not so sure about that.
Well, I don't know. Let's give Devin Toner the credit here.
I loved that tackle though. I just thought, like,
instantly memorable.
Yeah, he's a massive target. He's a great line-out operator as well, and I think you could just see how important he was to New Zealand in the way Ireland targeted him back in November. For sure.
So we've got a top 3. We're on the podium, and there's 2 Irishmen and an All Black on the podium.
And people might be surprised because I only have one prop in my top 10.
And he's up in at number 3.
Yeah, Tadhg Furlong. I was going to pick just an entire list of props, just to take the piss entirely. But I said I'd take it a bit more seriously. But Tadhg Furlong, best tight head prop in the world. I'd say best tight head prop Ireland have ever had. He's just an all-rounder, a complete all-rounder. His scrummaging is absolutely incredible. I don't think there's a loose head that can touch him at the moment, taking him on in the scrum. And we've been able to see in the last few months as well just how comfortable he is throwing the ball around. There was that great offload. Was it in the Wasps game, opening round of the Champions Cup? I think it was. Yeah. What else is there left to say? I was really disappointed he didn't make that top 5 list for shortlist for World Player of the Year, because there hasn't been a prop ever nominated in the, what are we in now, 17, 18 years of World Rugby Player of the Year. Never has there been a prop nominated. And I think if there is going to be one in the next few years, it could well be Tadhg Furlong.
It makes Keith Wood's achievement look all the more incredible that a hooker managed to actually go and win the thing.
Yeah, there have been a few hookers that have been nominated and won it as well. But even in the last few years, it's trending towards backs completely. Retallick was the last forward to win it, I think, 2014. But I just think Tadhg Furlong, he's just this kind of anchor in the front row that Ireland can build on over the next few years. And you can see the success in Ireland's scrum. I don't think they lost a single scrum over the 4 games of the autumn internationals. Granted, he wasn't playing in 2 of them now, but in the 2 ones that mattered, like against Argentina, who everyone hails as these, scrummaging innovators, and Tadhg Furlong was unbelievable that day. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he just had an amazing year. I think, I wonder, in a very perverse way, did the Lions Tour of 2017 go against his nomination for this year, where the people surveying it from abroad might have said, I haven't seen Tadhg Furlong hit the heights of the Lions Tour in 2017, whereas very quietly he's going about his business at a world-class level week after week after week.
I don't know. I think for the most part he was hitting those heights.
Because I just couldn't get over the fact that he wasn't really in the mix, but I don't know. We can leave those decisions up to other people, I guess.
Yeah.
We are down to the last 2. There's no surprises who these 2 are going to be. Take it away and tell us who's got the silver medal, and thereby confirming who's got the gold medal. I think we can all understand who the next 2 players are going to be.
Yeah, I think in the last month or so before the World Rugby Player of the Year awards, people thought it was going to be Beauden Barrett or Johnny Sexton, and I think I have to respect the voting of World Rugby on that one, because Beauden Barrett is second on the list for me, and Johnny Sexton is taking the number 1 award for 2018.
Talk us through this. Why?
Well, I had it in my head leading up to November that, in my head anyway, that they were probably neck and neck. Whoever probably won that game at the Aviva was probably going to be the one that pipped it. And so it was. And I just think, when you look back at the year Sexton has had, both for Leinster and for Ireland, 6 Nations Grand Slam, Pro 14 title, Champions Cup title, and series win down under in Australia, beating the All Blacks here, and the little moments as well. The drop goal against France.
Call that a little moment.
The little moment, yeah. The moment in the bigger moments.
Yeah.
But drop goal against France to save the Grand Slam when it was about to fall at the first hurdle. Just his all-round play, the work rate, the way he links up his back line. And we even saw it last week again against Bath, that good old Johnny Sexton wraparound move. It's still working. And it doesn't matter how many times he does it, because he has so many options available, and he just has that game intelligence where he can see what way the defenders want to move, what way they want to charge down, what options the defenders are attacking, and he's just going to give it to someone else.
He signed a decent media deal as well, I heard.
He did, and I'll say it as well, I did not choose him because he is now a colleague of us here at Off the Ball. But
I do wonder if he's going to rate being a Tide 5 Player of the Year ahead of being World Rugby Player of the Year. I would imagine so. I presume this is the biggest
moment. I would imagine
so.
Do we have an actual award, like a physical award we're going to give?
These are your awards, Neil.
I have to supply this. There's no budget.
Out of your own pocket, we're not going to support you on this.
Just take something from around here.
We'll give him the Brazilian 2014 mascot as a prize.
I'll give him something rugby related.
Conor Murray's Lions boots from 2017 are there. We can give those as a present to Johnny Sexton.
In fairness to Conor Murray, I was so close to putting him in.
Yeah.
It was probably just the fact that he was missing for these last few months.
Recency bias.
It was. I was thinking between him and Peter O'Mahony for one of those slots, and I just had to just about give it to O'Mahony.
Let's recap your top 10. So it's Lima Sopoaga at number 10, Nakarawa at number 9, Kolisi at number 8, O'Mahony at number 7, James Ryan at 6, Malcolm Marx at 5, Brodie Retallick at 4, Tadhg Furlong at 3, Beauden Barrett at 2, and Johnny Sexton at number 1. That is our last Tide 5 for 2018. Plenty more to come in 2019. It's Tide 10 really today. Neil, thank you very much for your expertise for the last couple of weeks. Have a very happy Christmas.
You too, Owen.
Thank you very much.